Well, apparently, there's some evidence of election fraud. I don't know. They're seizing machines, according to CNN. Michigan State Police seize. This is from what do you call it? CNN. This CNN. And look at this article here. Potential breaches tied to 2020 election. They expanded its investigation. The Michigan State Police expanded its investigation into whether third parties gained unauthorized access to voting machine data after the 2020 election. Oh, this sounds different. Is now examining potential breaches of at least one new county. So this is after the, well, I guess the vote counting is what matters, right?
Sure.
In a raid last Friday, state police seized one voting machine tabulator in Irving Township. Palmer told CNN that she was not aware of any issues until police notified her of the voting machine seizure. They opened its investigation into potential voting machine breaches in February, after the Secretary of State's office notified it that an unnamed third party was allowed to access vote tabulator components.
Okay.
So the Secretary of State said that an unnamed third party was allowed to access. How do you get to do that as an unnamed third party?
Yeah, who's the third party, and why are they unnamed?
Yeah, it's always unnamed people that seem to be getting in the most trouble. Unidentified man, unnamed people. These people without identities or names are trouble. They seem to be trouble, or they seem to turn up dead a lot. They're just tied to tragedy. Anyway, it was more counties where they were notified of breaches of elections would not confirm the seizure. So I'm just seeing what if there's anything here. What do they know? If we find more examples of unauthorized access, we talk to those officials to find out what transpired. It says these potential breaches did not affect the results in the 2020 election.
Oh, because they know
noting the breaches occurred after the election was complete. Well, the election was complete, not the voting.
Right.
The voting went on for weeks. But I guess if it was in February, it says here, let's see, as something happened before. The probe in Michigan reflects a growing number of incidents around the country where unauthorized people attempted to gain access to voting systems. There were key targets in Donald Trump's campaigns, in the Donald Trump campaign's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Is this connected to the January 6th probe or something?
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
They succeeded in at least one instance in late November 2020 when a team of pro-Trump operatives traveled to Antrim County, Michigan, and conducted an audit of voting systems there. So they're going to make it illegal to look into the voting machines.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do this.
Wow.
You're pro-Trump.
Wow. According to documents released as part of a failed lawsuit filed by attorneys working on behalf of the former president. That access led to a now debunked report. How debunked is it? Issued by a team of analysts from a Texas-based company, Allied Security Operations Group, alleging irregularities in Dominion voting systems. And I guess it says that was consistently cited as evidence in multiple failed legal challenges. I put no stock in any of the failed legal challenges.
Sure.
I mean, they're failed because they just wouldn't be heard.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't have, that's none of our business.
Yeah. You have no standing here. That's like half of them are that.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Yeah.
What are you, in the selection? You're biased. It says Dominion has filed several lawsuits over false election claims made about its equipment, including against Fox News. The House Select Committee investigating January 6th has made clear that third-party efforts to gain access to voting data in Michigan and across the country remain a key area of focus in its probe. What did I just say? It's connected to January 6th. It's like everything grows out of that, and they will keep this going as long as they can.
Sure.
They're never going to stop.
No, this is January 6th is like, their hive or queen bee, and everyone just kind of buzzes around it, and you keep expanding and expanding. Its tentacles get into everything. Like an airplane disaster, they'll relate it to January 6th, anything.
Anything. They're going to be able to do it. They want this thing to be ongoing forever. Anything they want to investigate.
Yeah.
I mean, they and the reason that they're not, it's what's this guy's name? Mayorkas or something? Mayorkas, the guy.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to take our time. We're going to move at a very, what's the kind of pace? A methodical pace. we're going to, turn over every right. It's like, yeah, this is never ending.
Yeah.
And that's why, is because they love it going. They love it ongoing.
They have to keep it going. They have nothing else. They really have not much else.
They have to go after political
Yeah.
opponents. I mean, they have to.
They're the state media. They just say whatever the Democrat Party wants them to. So they make sure the Democratic Party is okay with what they're going to say. Then they put it out there, see what kind of reaction it gets.
You talk about the media?
Yeah, the media, yeah. They're just a branch of the DNC.
Well, yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the overall game plan being, cooked up at central headquarters or whatever, right?
Yeah, who fuck knows where, yeah.
Yeah. But wherever it is, it's consistent across the board. And so here's the game plan. We're going to take forever with this thing. We're going to drag it out. It's going to be something we can always arrest people for.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody sent a text, something. It goes out pretty far and deep. And, eventually we'll be able to put everybody who didn't want a vaccine in jail.
Yeah.
So that's what they want us with the vaccines, either dead, unhealthy, unable to produce, or in jail.
Yeah.
Socially ostracized.
You have to be infertile.
Yeah.
It just came out. I read Johnson & Johnson. The government issued a warning against the vaccine today because of a rare blood clot issue. So, we've known this for years now, right? I guess that these vaccines are bullshit.
Well,
And
year,
and
maybe?
now it's coming out. Oh, there's a blood clot thing happening with J&J, and I knew that. My hematologist doctor said not to get any vaccines because of my blood clotting issues, and I listened to him.
Yeah, of course you
So-
did. But you didn't need them to tell you.
I know I wasn't going to get the vaccine regardless, but
Yeah, I mean, for you, it's like sign of the beast or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
U.S. regulators on Thursday strictly limited who can receive Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine due to the ongoing risk of rare, but serious blood clots. How rare? I mean, like, if they're so fucking rare, why not just put it in the
Yeah.
side effects bin? May cause this. Ask your doctor if this is right for you.
may cause blood clots, ED.
The Food and Drug Administration said the shot would be only given to adults who cannot receive a different vaccine. Why wouldn't you be able to receive a different vaccine?
That's interesting. What's wrong with the other vaccine?
Why wouldn't you be able to receive it?
I thought it was safe and effective, right? That's what they keep telling us.
Well, yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying. What exactly is? Why would you? What I'm saying is maybe they're just not going to give. They don't want to just say, yeah, we're taking it completely off the fucking list.
Yeah, black
we
box.
Johnson
Black
& Johnson bad. It's bad. Because really, once you say, well, it's only going to be given to adults who cannot receive a different vaccine
Well, that's bad.
or who specifically request it. So if you go in and say, I want the Johnson & Johnson, it causes blood clots, give it to me.
I want those blood clots.
U.S. authorities for months have recommended that Americans get Pfizer or Moderna shots instead.
Wow, this should be totally taken off the market. Wow.
For months they've
What's
been
the
saying
point?
don't get the Johnson & Johnson. The point is they don't want to say it.
My grandmother got the Johnson & Johnson shot right in the beginning. Right in the beginning. She's 89 years old. Right in the beginning of it. And several months ago, she had a mini stroke. Out of
Dude,
nowhere.
It's like people want to vaccinate their older relatives because, I mean, they think they're in greater danger, and they are,
Yeah.
of getting COVID and dying of it. But it's not going to help.
Didn't help her. I mean, and when she did get COVID, she had the sniffles for a day. It was like nothing.
Yeah, not as bad as that stroke.
That's for sure. Yeah, the stroke had her in the hospital for over a week. They were running all these tests on her, and they couldn't figure it out. There was no blockage. They ran all these fucking tests, CAT scans and whatever scans, and they couldn't figure out where the clot came from or if there was any damage.
She report to VAERS.
No.
So
they're
imagine
not-
how
they're
many
not gonna
don't.
make that connection.
Imagine how many don't. Well, she doesn't. She can do it. Anybody can.
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean, but it's probably a big hassle. But I mean, stand up and be counted, right?
Sure.
But then again, she's 89. She's got better shit to do with her life, I'm sure. U.S. authorities for months have recommended that, though. Why are we just now hearing about this from the FDA? I mean, what authorities? Who are the U.S. authorities who are? I haven't been hearing that. Have you?
Nope.
Yeah, we've been saying it for months.
We know.
And the FDA says now, so it's all good. Don't take it unless you just want to.
Why would you want to get a blood clot?
Well, some people just they trust Johnson and Johnson.
They identify as blood clot Americans.
They like they say, you know what? If it's the baby powder and it's the Vaseline and all the whatever they make. I guess Vaseline is the FDA's vaccine chief, the vaccine chief, Dr. Peter Marks, said the agency decided to restrict the vaccine after taking another look at the data on the risks of life-threatening blood clots and concluding that they are limited to J&J's vaccine.
Okay, and
they've
take
been
it off
selling
the
the most, haven't they? Been selling the most. There's
I
a
think
Pfizer.
So. Well, Pfizer reported earnings of over $26 billion Q1, and half of that was from the vaccine. Over $13 billion was from the vaccine. That's crazy.
That's a lot of money to make.
Fuck ton
That's
of money.
A crazy year.
And they can't be sued for it either.
And then they can't be sued.
No, that's
On
their
top of
money.
that.
Some people made a shit ton of money.
It
It's
says
not me.
If there's an alternative that you're not behind the vaccines,
No.
if there's an alternative that appears to be equally effective in preventing severe outcomes from COVID-19, we'd rather see people opting for that. If there's an alternative that appears to be equally effective in preventing severe outcomes from COVID-19, we'd rather see people opting for that.
Okay.
That an alternative that appears to be equally effective. I mean, the other vaccines are what he's. We'd rather, but we've been careful to say that compared to no vaccine, this is still a better option. How do you fucking figure that?
Yeah. Death or COVID?
Severe blood clots better than COVID. Well, that's rare. And COVID's very common.
It's very common.
Everyone gets it. If you haven't had it yet, you're gonna get it.
You
the
probably
problem,
had it and you just don't know it.
everybody's had it. Nobody who gives a shit. the problem occurs in the first 2 weeks after vaccination. He added. So, if you had the vaccine 6 months ago, you can sleep soundly tonight, knowing that it isn't an issue. That's like their statute of limitations. 14 days after taking it, no, it has nothing to do with the vaccine. If anything happens, maybe. Can you believe that?
These fucking people.
It says the FDA authorized. I'm just looking at this. J&J's first dose shot cleared, giving U.S. third. It was the third one to come. J&J. U.S. getting a third vaccine to prevent COVID-19. This is from a year ago, a year and change. So that's pretty wild, man. That is a pretty wild thing that we are talking about here.
No more J&J.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're like, hey, if you specifically ask for it, and if there's nothing, it's like they said, it's better than no vaccine.
Is it though?
If there's no other alternative, no, of course not. But I mean, but their logic is that, take it if there's nothing else available, but there is. There's
just take it off the market.
And so they're just like they won't do that though.
Or what's it called? What is it called? A black box label or something? When they
won't do it. That would damage the reputation of the vaccines.
Oh, God forbid.
That's it, right?
Yeah, it's publicity.
It's because it looks bad not only for J&J, but it looks bad for all
of it. All the vaccines.
And they really want us taking it. And I mean, like, let's think about it for a second. Doesn't your bullshit detector just go when they're just like, you must take it?
Yeah.
The way they wanted us to take it is unlike anything. It's not, hey, click it or ticket. It's not even that. It's not don't drink and drive. Those things kill way more people than drinking and driving does anyway. Car accidents kill way more people.
Oh yeah.
But they're not like, slow down.
Slow down.
My God. Every day, slow down. This fucking COVID shit is like not that big a deal. And they're like,
it's in your face constantly.
I mean, it was worse a year ago, I feel like.
Not for sure.
But then it like still is around. Like,
it's just hovering around. And like this ethereal thing.
It's like we're okay without masks, except in certain situations. You go to a doctor's office. Still got to be all like fucking, this is like really a thing.
Well,
medical shit.
Yeah.
But basically the doctor's office is the new church.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. A company I work for, they say that I have to wear a mask. I don't. I haven't gotten in trouble for it. I just don't. Wear a mask. No one's
Company you
reported me.
work for?
Yeah, one of the companies that I do. It's a 1099 job.
Oh, okay.
So it's no one's reported me.
Like you're an outside contractor.
Yeah, exactly.
And
No one
they-
said anything. I walk in, no mask. Fuck you. I don't make a big deal out of
You
it.
should actually do that. You should like say,
Fuck
you
you.
should also, no mask, fuck you. No mask,
Don't
fuck
need
you.
it. And there's signs on the doors. A lot of Asian restaurants have signs on their doors that say "No mask, no entry." I just go fucking breeze right through.
Yeah,
I'm here.
They just have that on there for show. They don't give a fuck.
Well, they wear the masks. The Asians wear the masks in the restaurants.
They love masks. They're fucking
nonstop,
They're
right?
born. They're born with masks on. They are. They're just like they've always been mask people in New York. I've seen them forever. They're just
Yeah.
like mask people. I don't know. It's just why. I mean, there's a lot of like impurities in the air that it makes more sense to wear a mask just for the regular environmental shit of New York. The exhaust, the metal shavings of the brakes where they stop in the subway.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
There's
that
dust, brake dust, it's like, or whatever. I mean, just the piss and shit in the air, in Penn Station. It doesn't maybe do that much for the smell, but, I mean, like if you're breathing poop air.
That shit particles.
You ever walk into a
nose.
bathroom after somebody's been in there that just wrecked it and you're just like,
Yeah.
man,
You're breathing.
if I smell it, I know that I'm breathing some remnant. Ugh. So, yeah, wear your mask.
Wear a mask.
So I'm going to read this little, it looks like an editorial of some sort. It says The Point. It's Chris Klitza. The number one thing I still don't get about Donald Trump's continued dominance of the GOP. I cannot wait. And then we'll talk about Joe Biden, Joe Biden, talking about...
The most popular president of all time, Joe Biden. Now,
Right.
Pat, you gotta say most popular president of all time, Joe Biden. That's how you didn't introduce him.
I forgot. Sorry, I'm a feeble old man.
It's okay.
Tuesday proved it again. The Republican Party is Donald Trump's party. Make no mistake, Trump's endorsement of J.D. Vance in the Ohio Republican U.S. state primary was the reason the author and first-time candidate won the nomination, and he has done, as he has done many times before, Ron DeSantis, I'm looking at you. Trump has reached down into the middle of the Republican pack, plucked someone out, and drove them to a victory. What's new about the Vance endorsement and win is that they don't come with Trump as president. At the zenith of his political power and influence, they came instead after Trump became the first incumbent president since George H.W. Bush to lose his bid for a second term. Don't rub that in.
Yeah.
So you cheated. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they do that, it's just like how whenever I don't know, like AP or the other press, Reuters or something like that, they put out a story when he was trying to overturn the results of a free and fair election. If you have to keep saying free and fair, it wasn't free and fair. You drive it home so much. It's like it gives them away. It shows how dishonest they are.
Right.
It's weird how they would tip their hand like that. Just leave out the free and fair. And it sounds so much more, but free and fair sounds like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you. They had to pull all the levers of power.
free and fair. You know what I mean?
All the-
It's a free and fair. Like, when do you care about
We
that?
fortified the election.
Yeah, they fortified
They
it.
fortified
A
it.
free, fair, and fortified election.
Like you do with like a breakfast cereal. You
Yeah,
fortify
that's
it with
what
vitamins.
Sounds like.
You
Part of this balanced breakfast. It's
Right.
like you get the cereal, right? A little bowl of cereal, then you got eggs, and you got some kind of a turkey meat or something,
Sausage,
and
yeah.
some small amount of bread, and like an apple, a little pile of spinach, and a multivitamin. It's like
Yeah,
part of this
fortified.
balanced breakfast. It's part of it.
fortified.
You don't really need the cereal.
You don't need the election because
I
they
guess
get
the
to pick
analogy
'em.
was a bit flawed.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's what it made me think of.
It's same.
It says, all of which brings me, oh wow, this is what it says. And after his party had, in quick succession, lost its majorities in the House and Senate, due in large part to Trump's unpopularity in the country at large.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, it's
When-
it's the lie they tell over and over again.
When
all of
every
them.
institution in the entire country, media, academia, every single one of them.
Clergy.
Yeah, they keep saying Donald Trump bad, Orange Man bad. A lot of people are going to go, oh, this authority figure's telling me Orange Man bad. Orange Man must be bad, I guess. Yeah, right?
Everyone says so. What are you,
Yeah.
stupid?
Come on. My lesbian priest says it. Chris Cazilla says it.
Yeah. Chris, fucking Vanilla Gorilla.
I can't believe he's still writing for CNN.
All of which brings me to a line from a speech by Governor Larry Hogan, a potential 2024 GOP presidential candidate in his own right.
Okay.
He gave Tuesday evening at the Ronald Reagan Library in California. A party that lost the popular vote in 7 out of the last 8 presidential elections and that couldn't even beat Joe Biden is desperately in need of a course correction. Well, we have a rhino on our hands.
Yeah, that's a Bill Kristol, neocon type of person.
Yeah. So no interest in that. No interest in, and here this guy's pushing him, of course,
Yeah.
Here's a Republican that makes sense. Why don't you guys back him?
Yeah, Lincoln Project. Maybe he fucked kids in his basement.
It's like even if he wins, fine. He's perfect for us.
Fucking
Did we lose the popular vote? And
I think so.
Republicans right. Well, in the elections they actually lost. I mean, like in the last 8 elections, it's been there's only been 2 Republican victories.
Yes.
So they lost the popular vote in those. But they won the electoral vote, which is what they fucking count, right?
That's what matters.
I mean, George Bush was a little weird. Something was going. That was a weird one. That was kind of a pick'em thing, I think.
Flip a coin. Yeah.
Seemed like it. I don't know what was going on, but it seemed like it. It's just any, and I mean any, objective analysis of the state of the GOP and the wake of Trump's presidency leaves you with this: the party needs change and fast. This is what I don't understand. You're getting your asses kicked.
Yeah.
And you're I mean, like, Chris Kalitza, a fucking liberal person, a liberal, a lefty, whatever you want to call him, member of the media, trying to say this shit. Everybody's going to vote for Republicans. Course correction? Are you shitting me?
This is the Republican, the Trump. I don't think there's been a former president more popular than Donald Trump in the Republican Party ever. Maybe Reagan was close. But I don't think even Reagan.
Tom Reagan left office. People were kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
Good night, Ronnie.
Yeah, take him out. Beyond
and
the barn.
H.W. Bush is certainly not popular. George Bush has the embrace of the left now for some reason. Kind of.
Not the right, though. Yeah. Because he paints. He makes these nice paintings. He's calm. He's on his ranch. He just paints.
No, he's on board with the New World Order plan. He's a great reset. That's the way it's going. I don't give a shit.
No,
it says, yet Trump remains, and not just remains, but prospers, in spite of the fact that he both oversaw and bears responsibility for the fact that Republicans are shut out of power on both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue. Hogan's plea to change course, then, is very likely to fall on deaf ears, hopefully.
Yes.
If he does run for president, he would do so as a massive long shot against Trump, assuming former president runs again.
He's going to run again.
It sets the point. It's a remarkable trick Trump has pulled, and I still don't totally understand how he did it. No, you don't.
Yeah, and you never will, because you just don't want to get it.
You don't. If you've never been to the ghetto, you should stay out of the ghetto. You won't understand the ghetto.
You ain't living on the streets like a real.
I don't know why. So that's the deal. That's the deal with what's going on.
Yeah.
We can look into another thing here, I guess. What is of interest to you right now? I'll tell you what. I'll take out the New York Post, and you can tell us how we can find anything
Amber
we need to
Heard and Johnny Depp. I mean, that's.
Go ahead, man. Start talking.
Honestly, I could give a shit. I don't care. I don't understand why it's being streamed, and the Maxwell trial wasn't, and all these other trials of these elites were never streamed. Like, I don't understand why they're allowed to stream this.
I don't understand that. It's this face right here. Look at it. Isn't she beautiful? He hit me and he put a bottle in my pussy.
She kind of looks like that retarded model for Victoria's Secret.
She does a little bit. A little uglier. She said that he threatened to cut me with a bottle, and then he put a bottle in my pussy. And she said, I couldn't feel it. I couldn't even feel it. I'm like, then what are you complaining about?
If you didn't feel it, who cares?
Big fucking deal. You couldn't feel a damn thing. How big is your pussy? Maybe you need to talk to your doctor about your big ass pussy.
Your gynecologist might want to take a look at that.
Disgusting whore. I mean, that's theoretic. In theory, I
Wow.
could say something like that.
Allegedly.
National Dim's ire. Okay, I don't really care about Hochul that much. Nick's son, so they're not going
Kim's
to.
Kardashian.
Yeah, they're not. They don't want to
Bullshit.
hear any more about say a disturbing timeline, Bronx bodega, bloodshed, bullshit. Homeless defy in from cold bid. That's what they don't want to come inside.
Oh my God! With the homeless, they choose to be out there in these tents and living on the streets, and the media and the state says, well, they're mentally ill and da, da, da. No, if they were mentally ill, they'd be in a mental hospital. They want to do it.
It's a choice. It's a choice. They're
Absolutely.
like urban camper type people, largely is what I've seen. And I have no sympathy for them. Young people who could be doing something different and just won't. So what do you want to say? It's I have no. You can't really get sympathetic about that. I don't see how. Let me see here now. Here we go. Now, this is a video entitled, this is what Portland's human tragedy looks like. They consider it a human tragedy. And
Human tragedy.
yes, a human tragedy.
Oh, boy.
As opposed to
Yeah.
the animal kingdom,
A monkey tragedy.
Or, whatever. You can name an animal, right? Oh, I want to make sure I'm sharing my sound here.
Is Portland over? Yes, it has been for 20 years.
Well, I mean, they think that they're just doing great.
Yeah, they're just doing nice work. They're just being kind and.
We begin a series of reports focusing specifically on the homeless crisis. And I start tonight by taking you to a neighborhood that's simply overwhelmed. It's a snapshot in time documenting the cycle of this human tragedy.
Boy, they are
Human
really
tragedy.
They are really, really proud of this report.
Yeah, they put a lot of work
It's
into
a
it.
snapshot of, wow.
KOIN really, really put a lot of time into this. Got a drone.
From above, you can't deny the stark reality. This is what Portland's other epidemic looks like.
I just cannot get over the way this guy talks. This is what Portland's other epidemic looks like.
Epidemic.
It spreads
other
across
white
the
meat.
city into neighborhoods, along streets.
That's the same thing they're showing over and
it's
over
this-
again.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Is what Portland's other epidemic looks like. It spreads across
Name
the
one.
city into neighborhoods, along streets, alongside
Same one.
highways, next to
Same
homes.
one.
Unlike COVID, this epidemic has no vaccine or booster.
Gay.
These poor people will not get blood clots from a homelessness vaccine.
And it's getting worse.
Thank God at least
getting
they're
worse.
vaccinated.
This is what it looks like from the ground. Men and women living in makeshift shelters, in tents, under tarps, existing among piles of garbage and filth.
Nothing that a high pressure hose and like a tractor, couldn't level off. A bulldozer,
Some are
baby.
living in broken down trailers parked along the street, surrounded by piles of personal belongings, trash.
See, why are we feeling sorry for people who shit up the
Yeah.
place so much? Just because you live there, they make it sound like they live amongst the trash. They create the trash.
They're not being very environmentally friendly.
They make it like this, the only place they can live surrounded by trash
That
Like
they made.
They moved amongst the trash. They make it sound like.
And rats.
Oh no, attracting rats. You
You
see.
don't say. Trash attracts rats.
Hold on a second. Now you're telling me these piles of trash and rats were sitting there, and they go, "Well, this is the only thing we can do is
Are
live
you-
here next to the trash and rats."
Honey,
underneath
get the tent.
tarp and stuff, and like we can hear them because they crawl on things. Like I didn't know rats were so smart. They're like little ninjas almost.
The rats have now invaded nearby homes.
Yeah.
Those living here
They
have
are.
seen their neighborhood
True.
become a human disaster zone.
They've seen their and you're concerned about these motherfuckers
And look at that
doing
nice
it.
now litter the
needles.
sidewalk. They've been threatened.
Let me see this. What is
Nearby
this?
homes. Those living here have seen their neighborhood become a human disaster zone. Needles.
This is a human disaster zone. Yeah,
Done by humans.
these are human disasters.
Yeah.
They all are. You are disasters.
Now litter the
That's
side.
the Trump word. He says like, oh no, Mitch McConnell's a disaster. I love calling a person a disaster.
Walk. They've been threatened by some of the people living on their street. They don't feel safe. It's a health hazard. Their pleas for help, ignored.
They've been there for almost 2 years now, and no one has removed them. So I think it's time for them to actually do something about it.
This is what Portland's human
Reasonable.
tragedy looks like.
Human tragedy.
Welcome to Southeast 94th and Pardee.
I mean, the framing of this is just so fucking annoying. Am I wrong?
No,
I mean, I see you
it's totally,
groaning.
no,
and stuff.
it's totally gay. I hate it.
Gayness aside, just completely, like, I mean, dishonest. Just dishonest and like so. It's like these homeless people break into people's houses.
Human disaster zone.
It's a human disaster.
I've been here since the summertime, and when they moved, the people from over that area, they all came over here, and then we all kind of got bunched together. And now I think it's because before we all followed the rules, like the 6 feet apart stuff, you know. So like they weren't really bothering us.
Lahua is not just
Nice
a
tooth.
statistic. She's
Her
a
name
woman.
is Lahua. Lahua.
Lahua.
It's French for the whore.
Lahua is not just a statistic. She's a woman who ended up homeless.
She's a woman. She's a woman who
Makes it
ended
worse.
up
Now
home.
there's a bunch of trash here that wasn't here before, a bunch more people that wasn't here before. So now we all have to move.
Lahua doesn't want to be
Lahua.
here. She didn't choose to be
Oh,
homeless.
doll. You see the doll?
A
the
roommate
dirty
didn't
doll.
Oh my God. That's a nice shot, isn't it?
Oh wow! Someone took that shot and was like, "This is it. This is totally going on air.
Pulitzer.
We fucking nailed it. A dirty baby doll."
So true. Yeah.
Pulitzer.
Lahua doesn't want to be here. She didn't
There it is.
choose to be.
Yeah, that fucking doll has shit its nightgown.
I think it's on. I think
Lahua
it
doesn't want to
OD'd.
be here. She
There.
Oh my God!
Look at
get
that
me outta
thing.
here. It's got its eyes open. Just, oh man, what a bummer. They had to get the camera all the way down on the
Yeah.
ground.
Did one of these, so they lower it down.
Yeah, they found a doll and mushed it around in the mud and shit, you know, and then set it just
Yeah.
so. You know they
Yeah,
placed it just so.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, they absolutely placed it.
The doll was somewhere, but they wanted it to be here.
Yeah,
Can we get it with the chain link in the background? Yeah, perfect.
dolls are creepy.
didn't choose to be homeless.
A roommate that didn't pay rent,
Sure.
so
What
therefore
did she say? My roommate was getting paid?
Yeah. Well, no. She's the reason why she's homeless is her roommate didn't pay rent,
Oh.
so now
Used
she's
to be
homeless. It's
homeless.
summertime.
a roommate that didn't pay rent.
And I can't talk.
So therefore we couldn't catch up. It was already
Super
too far
liberal.
gone. We couldn't catch up.
This morning,
housing
Lahua
system?
has a decision to make.
What's wrong with their system here?
But the way they post
Broken
notices
system.
are ridiculous. They post them back in the trees where nobody can see them.
The city has posted green notices declaring this an illegal campsite, giving campers 10 days to move. Crews are set to clean up the site tomorrow. Lahua isn't surprised. She's been through this routine before.
These people come and they'll take all your stuff and they'll pack it all up for you.
Aw.
Doesn't matter if it's garbage or
Nice of
whatever it
them.
is. They'll pack it all up into one thing.
packing
and
up for you?
They'll leave it out
Helping
here.
you out. At least she's wearing
on
her
the trail
mask.
for a few days. And if you don't come get it by then they'll take it to a locker. So that means anybody can come by and take
But they
your stuff.
store it for you too. Well, that's nice of the city.
So it means whatever you did have is gone.
Where do you go when there is nowhere to go?
They'll go either down the trail or up the trail. There's a lot of these people don't really have any place to go.
Compassion.
Early the next morning, the cleanup begins.
Early
A
next
yellow box
morning.
truck has arrived.
Early next morning, the cleanup begins.
Rapid response cleanup teams are clearing up campsites, trash, and garbage, packing the truck full.
Thank
But their efforts
God,
only
these
focus on the
people who live there are
specific
just like,
area
"Fuck
where the
yes."
notices were posted.
Yeah, the
Most of the
residents.
homeless who were here simply moved a few feet down or up the trail.
Like she said, you need to go down to the uptown.
Lahua
The
was
next
right.
morning, piles of garbage and debris have replaced most of the tents and tarps. Cleanup
Well,
crews
that's
will
better.
return in a few days to pick up what's left. Lahua and her boyfriend didn't leave. She's staying in a trailer parked on the street.
Okay, Matt.
Good.
Take care. Yeah.
Boyfriend.
Her friend tells me she's feeling sick.
boyfriend.
She's feeling sick. I wonder what type of sick. You think it's dope sick?
Lahua, not single. Sorry,
Wow.
guys.
Yeah, listen, guys. Lou is taken.
Staying inside today. Many of those who used to live here haven't disappeared. They're just waiting to see.
No, they haven't disappeared. They haven't. They don't disappear. Nobody disappears.
where they'll go next. They did a cleanup yesterday here. Did you have to move during that cleanup?
Oh yeah.
Where did you move to?
I just packed everything packed up. I haven't moved yet, so
That looks perfectly fine.
just kind of waiting to see what happens.
And then you'll
Probably on heroin.
make camp somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
He looks
just
like a
playing it by
terrible
ear.
person.
Marshall has been homeless for the past
goat.
7 years.
I mean, like,
he used to
able-bodied.
have a good job.
Past
Then
how long? 7 years?
Well,
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Just playing it by ear.
Marshall
Right
has
here.
been homeless for the past 7 years. He used to
Bullshit.
have a good job.
Wow.
Then things spiraled out of control. He now has addiction issues, like a lot of people living out here.
See, that's a really neutral way to say that, isn't it? Then things spiraled out of control.
Yeah. What were those things that spiraled out of control?
Things?
Yeah.
Oh, see.
whose
what
control
happened
was it in?
7 years ago? Oh, Trump was running for office.
Oh, and he started doing heroin because of Trump.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Has there been any outreach to you, like to say, hey, Marshall, do you need some temporary housing?
Yeah, that's what it takes. Hey, Marshall, do you need some
Do you
temporary
need
help?
permanent housing? Has a team come around? Anything like that?
He's like, yeah.
Not really. Not that I've noticed. Or not to
Not-
me personally.
Not
the hardest
really.
thing about
Not
being-
that I've noticed. Not me personally.
He could walk into any social security or whatever administration office and get housing. Maybe it might. They in Portland they put him in a Hilton, for God's sakes. No, he chooses this. Yeah.
They put homeless people in hotels here. But I mean, yeah, it's like, by his own admission here, he's like, not me personally. Not that I'm aware of. Meaning, I didn't answer the door to my fucking tent or something. He sees him come around. He didn't want to fuck with him because he's going to have to get off drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they make you do. That's one of
Being
the.
out here, I mean, you've done it for 7 years.
And we're supposed to feel all this compassion for these people who just can't get off drugs. Okay, I get it, but you know what? So I'm sorry. You don't get to drag everybody down with you.
Yeah.
You have my neighborhood. Get the fuck out of here. Go do this someplace else.
Do drugs. Get off my front lawn. If you want to do drugs, do it away from me.
It's a choice you make, even if you're addicted. It's still a choice you make.
Yes. Yes.
It's all hard. And it doesn't get any easier. But I mean,
This guy is just lapping up this being a victim
either roll
business.
with it or get ran
Oh,
over. I mean, what
yeah.
are you gonna do?
While Marshall
This
waits,
victim.
another person has already moved on. Do you think you're getting the mental help that you need to get off the street?
Yeah, I think they do what they can.
Yeah.
But again, it's about me setting goals.
This guy is confused about what it is they're trying to hear from him. You know what I mean? He thinks that they want to hear, like, that the system's good.
Yeah, it's working and they're helping you out.
So, yeah, it's all right, you know. So he's just saying it like, you know.
Bobby says he suffers from depression. He's been homeless for a few
Who doesn't?
I'm starting to suffer from depression watching this. Jesus.
years.
It's been about 4 or 5 years.
How do you survive out here?
Deal.
Just every day, just set goals. And small
Eat
goals.
and shit in private.
Yep. Just
And do
every day
drugs.
set a goal.
If they tell you to move on after a cleanup, where do you go?
Until that sheriff roll out, man, I leave, no conversation, and I come back.
To the same spot usually?
Well, not exactly the same spot.
Sounds
but,
effective.
Look at that
When you
smile.
talk with
He ain't
those-
depressed.
He's
Well, not exactly the
well,
same
you
spot.
know, hey.
I mean, you cracking me up now. Come on, man. Same spot. I mean, nearby.
He had a nice
Out
hat. The
here,
stickers were
when
still
you
on
listen
it.
to their stories about how they ended up here, when you see the addiction problems, those with mental health issues, you're moved with compassion.
No, I'm
But
not.
what if you lived on this street? The
I hate
crisis
them
unfolding
from
feet
here.
from your front door. After every cleanup, the cycle starts all over again.
Don't you want to tell these people who live here, right? You live here.
Yeah.
Tell them, like, okay, I have a rescue plan for you. You're going to like this, okay? Here's what you're going to do. And it's very simple. Say, like, listen closely. you're going to see. You're here, right?
Okay.
And you just walk right over here, and just wait. and,
Wait a day.
and we'll pick you up. Okay.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to do that little annotating thing. Let's face it, that's all it was. No, I can't get it to go away.
The crisis unfolding feet from your front door.
Feet.
After every cleanup, the cycle starts all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line between compassion and tolerance?
Wait.
You did just draw a line.
I did draw the line. But listen to this line that they have the fucking sack to say. This to me is the point of the whole thing.
Cycle starts all over again. Where do you draw the line between compassion and tolerance?
Honestly, they're wasting their time and the taxpayer money. These people are going to be right back. The city does not have compassion for these people or compassion for us. These people need help.
Todd Littlefield lives in the heart of Southeast 94th and Pardee.
You don't want
He's
help.
been outspoken about the city's lack of response.
Yeah.
I'm not going to offer an excuse for why we're forgotten. It's clear that we're forgotten. It's clear that the city does not care. They have no compassion. They have no compassion for us, the neighbors, or the people that are on the streets being assaulted every night.
Mari Factor feels unsafe. She can't let her children play outside.
I can't let my kids ride on that trail, beautiful trail that's very long. It's not so beautiful anymore because it's scary. So many homeless people there.
Mari says some homeless have entered her fenced yard.
So that's why I have to lock all my back doors, windows with wood, just in case.
With wood?
That's crazy.
I don't know what we're dealing with. I have my big yard and I can't let them out and play. How is that possible?
Well, keep voting Democrat.
It's not fair.
Welcome to
I
Portland.
lived in the neighborhood for over 40 years, so I haven't ever seen it like this.
Martin Johnson is compassionate towards the homeless, but says, what's
But he says in his Titleist hat,
happening here
He's a
wouldn't
golfer.
be tolerated in other parts of the city.
I understand that people are homeless, and I understand there are some that have and some that don't, and they need it. But we have a crime situation in our way. We have stolen cars back there. They steal the catalytic converters off of cars from my neighbor left and right, and we have needles. We have prostitution. We have a guy that's got a bike situation. We're stealing bikes.
we got a little doll that's laying around here.
For
Muddy
the cleanup
doll.
that just took place,
So that doesn't mean anything. You know why? It's like a Band-Aid. They're there for that moment, and you take the Band-Aid off. You still got the wound.
Yeah, they are
This
the
is the
wound.
last thing that we wanted. You know what I mean? We hate. It's so hard to do simple stuff like you charge your phone, wash your hands or your face.
Yeah, this guy is a good provider. You chose
Face.
well.
this is one of the visible wounds.
Toll
Will and
paid.
Ashley have been living in this dilapidated trailer parked on the street. They've been living in this neighborhood for over a year.
Now look at what's
They used to
happening
live
right
in
here.
a tent across the
This right here is because they got the cameras rolling and they said, "Okay, could you just here's a broom, just kind of be pushing this around, just so."
He never swept that, and they never done any of this.
Like I know, but it just looks good for us. Yeah, but just pretend you're cleaning up.
the street. How long have you been living in this trailer for?
About 4 months.
They just had a cleanup here, and you guys didn't have to move?
No, we didn't, because we are not in a tent technically.
Technically.
So they never told us we had to move because we were on the street in a trailer.
How did they end up here? In the past 2 years, Will and Ashley faced one crisis after another.
What?
They couldn't pay rent. They lost jobs. There were family issues. There was COVID. They have
Oh,
two children.
COVID.
There were family. See, it's just so vague.
Yeah.
They couldn't pay
Family
rent.
issues.
Now
Yeah.
living in
Wonder
foster
why.
care. Ashley's 2 other children from a previous marriage now live with her former husband.
I spent as
Thank
much
That
God.
seems best, doesn't
Yeah.
it? That seems best.
money as long as I could on hotels for us before, and we were
Oh,
waiting.
and listen, this makes a lot of sense. I mean, this is a great idea. If you feel yourself slipping into a homelessness
Marriage,
situation.
now live with her former husband.
I spent as much money as long as I could on hotels for us before, and we were waiting to get into programs. The list for a lot of shelters were full, and it took maybe 2 months.
So why
It
didn't
was
you go
really
in?
fast. It was
Because they don't want
It's
to.
really
She doesn't want
fast,
to
and it's
Oh,
separate.
2 months to
I
burn
don't
through the
know.
hotels.
What happens is, especially with women and men couples with shelters, there's women shelters and there's men shelters, and they don't. The homeless people don't want to separate from their significant other, so they just stay homeless instead of going into the women's shelter or the men's shelter.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen.
They want to maintain their, look, it's a nuclear household they're trying to build.
Patriarchal family.
We are a husband and wife.
Control over it. Like we have no control over it. We tried to stay with family.
This is
We have
the
no control over it. We tried to stay.
place Will and Ashley now call home.
But a
Whose
lot
family do you think they were leaning on?
of-
Sorry.
Like, going there really fast
No,
because
don't be.
It was raining when we first started.
Managed to get a dye job there, though, and your makeup is looking good for TV. And
The producer
Yeah.
should have told her to wipe it off.
And when rapid response came also, and it was just stuff we had to bring over. And some of the stuff outside is mostly like storage bins.
yeah, they didn't need to tell Lahua to dull it down a little bit.
To put all this stuff in, but there's rats out there and they get all over everything and they're so gross. And so before I bring it in here, I want to clean it off. But it's hard to do that kind of stuff.
It's
because
hard
we
to
have
do
get,
that kind of
like
stuff.
napkins and water.
Compassion
Napkins and
versus
water.
tolerance.
Yeah.
Is it compassionate
Formula
to let
409.
people live like this? Is
Bleach.
it right to tolerate people shooting up drugs on our
They're
streets and
shitting
sidewalks,
behind trees.
letting garbage pile up?
Like, this can't be good.
They're living like rats, you know.
Yeah.
They
To
should
let
be.
people live like this? Is it right to tolerate people?
I have to hear what he's saying here. This is the big summary. This is
tolerance? Is it compassionate to let
Says
people?
it again. Where do we draw the line between? He already said that once, and he just said it again. Where do we draw the line between compassion and
But
tolerance?
it's hard to do that kind of stuff because we have to get like napkins and water.
Compassion versus tolerance. Is it compassion?
What the fuck does that even mean? They're not even set in opposition to each other. You know, you can be compassionate and tolerant.
Yes.
You can't get rid of them while tolerating them. You can't get rid of them while being compassionate for them. So they're here.
Doesn't matter.
It's not their fault. Compassion he said between compassion and tolerance, that's the way they view the decision. I mean,
I've heard the
I
word
just-
compassion like 800 times.
yeah.
To let people live like this? Is it right to tolerate people shooting up drugs on our streets and sidewalks, letting garbage pile up, while ignoring neighbors' pleas for?
So is it right? He said, is it compassionate to let people live like this? Is it right to tolerate people shooting up? I don't mean to belabor this, but I mean, this to me is important. Exactly what this message is.
And water.
Compassion versus tolerance. Is it compassionate to let people live like this? Is it right to tolerate people shooting up drugs on our streets and sidewalks, letting garbage pile up, while ignoring?
See, compassion, is it compassionate to let them live like this?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's neither compassionate nor tolerant currently.
Right.
By what he said, by the questions he's asking. He's questioning whether it's compassionate or tolerant. But he's then saying versus.
Yeah.
Ignoring neighbors' pleas for help. Is it compassionate to tolerate those living in cars, trailers, and tents who are fighting the demons of mental illness?
Now he's using them in the same sentence. Is it compassionate to tolerate
He really
these
loves
assholes?
those words.
I mean, but it's so twisted and meaningless. It's just using those words. That's what they want to stick. They just want compassion and tolerance to stick.
Over
And to be like, I don't even know which one to pick. Compassion or tolerance. Boy.
Back at Southeast 94th and Pardee, the tents are returning to the site just cleaned up.
It don't.
Soon more will pop up. The garbage and human debris will start piling up again. And Portland's cycle of human tragedy will repeat itself.
Human tragedy.
I bet he says it one more time.
And this is what 94th and Pardee looks
Now
like.
look at this guy's suit right here. You're too fat to wear this type of suit. You know what I mean? He's trying to go for that slim look. It's
Yeah,
not
working.
working for this 60-year-old chubby dude.
Like tonight, this video taken just this afternoon. More tents are moving back. Another trailer covered in tarps is now parked on the street. All this after the cleanup about 2 weeks ago. And this is the cycle that continues to repeat itself over and over again. Now, one of the three neighbors
it's so
here told me,
confusing.
Oh, I wonder
it's a
why.
cycle that just continue. I mean,
A cycle that continues is a cycle.
It just keeps going and going.
that the addiction and drug issues is what the real problem is. Homelessness, a result of that. That's true for many living here, but you can't say that for others we talked with. The metro area now has more.
Which ones were not on drugs?
They were all on drugs.
He says, no, not all of them we talked with. You can say that drugs and alcohol leads to homelessness, but that's not true for all of them. That's his contention.
Maybe they're just
Three
want to
neighbors
live
here
like that.
told me that the addiction and drug issues is what the real problem is. Homelessness, a result of that. That's true for many living here, but
Most.
you can't say that for others we talked with.
Can't
The
say it
metro
for
area
others.
now has
One
more money
person.
than ever before to solve the homeless crisis. Voters approved that tax, and it's up to us to make sure that money is spent well and that their approach over the coming months is effective in stopping the cycle. We have to answer the key question here. Where do we draw the line between compassion and tolerance? We do want to hear from you. Email your.
Isn't that nuts? Where do we draw the line between compassion and tolerance? I don't even know what more to say about it. Those words are, so hollow.
Yeah.
First of all, compassion. I don't see how anybody could watch what we just watched and feel like, oh, those poor people.
Yeah.
I mean,
My heart
unless
goes out
you
to them.
have I don't know, a heroin addict daughter or something that you're like, yeah, she's kind of like my fucking kid. I guess. I mean, even then, you got to be realistic. This is ridiculous.
These
Get off
people-
these.
yeah.
Get out of the fucking area. And go someplace. And they, like you said, they don't want to split up. They don't want to do anything conditional. They're just like, yeah, I mean, they didn't specifically ask me if I wanted to go somewhere. So, what can I do? It gets harder every day.
They have to quit the drugs. These are the conditions where they can get shelter, they can get jobs, they can get insurance, whatever the fuck they need. They can get all those things if they can get off the drugs. That's what the state wants. The state wants them to get off the drugs,
Yeah.
but they don't want to get off the drugs. They choose this shit.
Well, the state, they don't really care if they get off the drugs. I mean, they're asking them to.
Yeah.
But they're like,
To make it sound good.
just because you have to, I guess. You have to say, oh, well, you probably shouldn't be doing heroin if you're going to. So we can't really. But by all means, we love it when you live outdoors. It's fine. We're going to make you move down the street a little bit every once in a while. They love it.
Back and forth.
The
back
state
and forth.
wants all this shit.
And
they love it.
And they got an extra tax, and they won't even use the money on those specific things.
Yeah, exactly. They get the tax, and they're like, it's up to us to make sure the money is spent. No. The taxpayer finances it. You handle it now. At some point, we're not running the fucking place. I don't get a check. Or they don't get it. You know what I mean? These people living around here, they don't get paid to solve this problem.
Maybe they should. Maybe
These other assholes
Maybe
do.
they should get a check.
Well, maybe they should run for office.
Something.
But I'm saying the people that they elect are supposed to be doing it, right? Why
You
do you
would
get my
think.
vote if you're
You
not
would
going to
think.
figure it out? But they're not going to figure it out.
At
That's
least-
what annoys me about it is that they're now it's up to us to make sure the money is spent well to take care of this compassion tolerant bullshit. It's amazing to me that people have that perspective, that they push that out there like that. I can't say enough about it. I could sit here and talk about it all night,
Yeah.
but
Drives
that
me
would
nuts.
belabor the point, I suppose, to do that. But man, I'm glad I'm not homeless.
Yeah.
I think I could manage to, not be that way in it pretty much regardless. I mean, it's like, I know we tried to stay with family. Well, you burnt that bridge, haven't you, by being a fucking drug addict?
And probably junkie stealing from the family.
Probably stole from your family. They don't approve of anything you do. Hey, how about the jobs you've had? Oh, they haven't worked out. Why?
You didn't show up.
There's a common denominator here. You see, it's you and your drug problem. And you see, and they're all aware of it. They all know. They all know exactly what the problem is, especially that guy with the glasses, that Marshall guy.
Oh, yeah, 7 years homeless.
He's very aware of what his problem is. He's like, so,
I like
you
heroin.
got a few bucks. You got a few bucks. He's about to ask that guy for money. I'm almost sure of it. So they want, to a drug addict, tomorrow is just some other time. It's not. Their need for drugs. They feel, and they can't see exactly how fucked up all this shit. They don't care. It's not important. They are willing to do this for another day, and another day, and another day. And like, what do I need to do today? It's one foot in front of the other. Get drugs. My day goes by, and then I sleep. My merciful fucking temporary death. Wake up, find the drugs.
Find the drugs, do it over again.
Yeah, it's that daily task that just keeps you busy with shit, so that you can just like divorce yourself from regular life, not even think about it. And it's drug addict living is bad, but I mean at some point you hit a bottom, and if this isn't it, what the fuck is it?
Yeah, who knows?
For some people, it's death. I still say everybody living around there has a right not to have to fucking put up with this shit. Sure. Don't you feel? I mean, obviously,
yeah, no, I do.
Sure
I wouldn't want fucking homeless people living in my front yard and my kids not being able to go outside. Well, my oldest kids will probably toss them off the lawn, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't want homeless people.
Yeah, they go to jail.
Yeah, my kids beat up a homeless guy. They could.
You know what? A can of gas, a few matches. Guess what? I mean, it'll be ugly. But they won't come back.
That's for sure.
Yeah. You'd end up killing somebody would be the problem.
Whoops.
I know, but...
It's a human tragedy.
Now you got to, like, fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? If you didn't have to deal with all of it. But that's drug addict thinking. That's all it is. It's just like another thing.
That junkie mindset.
And they don't want out of it because, it's just not there yet for them. It's like, I can keep doing this. And that young girl there, who's living there, her 2 kids, whatever.
Yeah, with the father.
I mean, maybe patch things up with dad.
Yeah.
He's got a house and shit.
It seems like he knows what he's doing.
I mean, I'm sure he's moved on by now. You've been living with this dude for 4 months outside. Who knows how long, whatever. I don't know what the situation is, but I mean, boy, things are not going well for you. The rats and everything. It's like, Jesus Christ, you're a young woman,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't look terrible. You look presentable enough,
Sure.
You don't have to live outdoors in a trailer with this guy, you know what I mean? And what's his deal? I mean, like he's a young guy too. He could work.
He's the one that gets the drugs and he brings it home for her. I mean, no. So a lot of times it's a woman. That
I
gets
don't
the drug.
really know. I can't. I mean, that's whoever's bringing the drugs. I'm sure they each have divvied up the responsibilities.
You go over here. I'll try to find drugs.
I'll bet you this. If it came down to her sucking a dick to get the drugs, he'd be like,
absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're all lahore or whatever. They're all prostitutes.
Oh,
they're
well, yeah.
absolutely 100% prostitutes.
But yeah, I mean, she's got a boyfriend too. We didn't get to see him. But in the context of this younger couple here, where they both look, it's like, hey, you want to see your future, chick? Look at Lahore.
Yep.
That's your future.
I bet you the guy that she's with, the younger couple, I bet you he's okay with her sucking dick for money as long as she gets the drugs.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it came down to it, he'd be like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, do it.
Anything it takes. Me suck a dick. Well, come on now. It's not that bad yet.
Hey now.
But it'll get that bad. Maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that's a bottom for him, Maybe when you do something that you really didn't feature yourself doing,
Yeah, and those poor kids, that are under. She's supposed to be a mother, supposed to be there for her kids.
No mother for
supposed
them.
to raise them in safe, nice conditions, and these kids are going to end up being
She wants to
screwed
live
up.
in a trailer instead of with us.
She wants to. Yeah, mommy wants to live in a trailer with a black guy.
Well, I mean, who knows? The dad's probably black too.
Yeah,
I
fair.
mean, I doubt this was her first venture into the jungle fever.
I remember that word, jungle fever.
Yeah, that's why I say that. I mean it like just that's jungle fever. Yeah, she has she's had the jungle fever for a long time. Fever for the flavor. Probably half black kids. She's got little Obamas on her hands. Although that guy was like maybe half black, so they were quarter black.
Okay.
Octomaroons. Is that what that's called? No, quarter. Eighth black.
I don't know.
Quadroon.
Quadroon? Yeah. Quadroons.
Well, these are words that, generally speaking, people don't really like. You know what they used to call people that were half black and half white when in my hometown was high yellow.
High yellow.
That's what they call them.